American clients, take two after my first live video here today. There was a little technical glitch with the microphone. Sorry about that. I hope that you can hear me now. Anyway, gives me a chance to have done a practice session to make this one even better, even clearer, and get you more value in less time, which is always a good thing. So, what we talked about was basically if you're going into the US market, there's one thing that I want to insist on is that that needs to be a strategic decision and not an opportunistic decision. Now, yes, you will get opportunities that you want to jump on in the American market and you say, "You know what? I've got this opportunity. I've got this person that the American client that contacted me um and I wasn't really thinking about specifically the American market, but here's an opportunity." Now, first thing, there's a difference between being strategic about the American market and jumping on an opportunity because you have a client. Now, if you are just trying to get this one client, I mean, do your stuff the way that you usually do it. Because if the opportunity is there, it's a short term goal. And we won't have time to redo all of your strategy for positioning you for the American market for this one client that just happened to come along. So go after the opportunity, especially because Americans, decisions go very fast. They're going to look for responses very quickly. Um, so if you say, "I've got this American client and I need to send them this response tomorrow evening at the latest. Christina, can you help me?" I'm going to say, I mean, I might can take a look at something and help you out, but we're not going to be able to rework your American strategy overnight. When you're going into the American market, you're looking at delays more like 1 to 3 years for really building up a solid presence and becoming a reference in what you do in the American industry. It goes fast in the US, but it does not happen overnight. So if you have that opportunity, jump on it. There's some things that we can surely work on and get you some quick wins. But if you are looking at the US market because it's your strategy and you know that your growth is there and you know that your market is there and you know that you have bigger opportunities there, then there are some other things that we need to work on in your business. And there's 5 things that we want to be sure that we lock in order to make you stand out and be visible and be perceived as valuable and perceived as credible in the American market. I'll go through each of these 5 things and then I'll explain a little more what that is. The first one is your niche. The second one is your persuasion. The third one is your presence. The fourth one is your credibility. And the fifth one is your connections. Now, let's just go into these very briefly. If you want to go into these in more detail for your business and your strategy, send me a message in the DMs and we can talk about it. So, in for niche, if you're going into the US market, you really need to be very clear on who your niche is. Um, the American market is a big market, there are many competitors on it. You are not trying to compete for everyone's attention, you're trying to just make sure the absolute right clients for your business are seeing you. And how do we do that? By really honing in and identifying who is my target audience? What are their specific problems? How do I address those problems in my messaging? And being very specific. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen and that a lot of the people that I've spoken with in the US who also work with European entrepreneurs, they say they come over here and their offer it's too general, it's too vague, and it's not going to be clear to anyone on the US market specifically who they're targeting. Remember, you don't need everyone on the American market, you need a little segment, even if you're just starting. So we really want to make sure that it is super clear who your niche is, who your target is, and that make sure that your communication, it just reflects that so that they can see super clear that you're speaking to them. Otherwise, you know the popular expression, if you're trying to speak to everyone, you speak to no one. That is even truer in the US market. The second point is persuasion. So, this is all about how you create conversations, pitches, presentations that persuade Americans to come on board with you, whether that is to become a client, whether that's to give you a chance to try something, to try out your product. Because even if they're not paying with their money, they're paying with their time. And of course, in the US, time is money. And so that is a form of currency. So how do we persuade them to give us some time? How do we persuade them to give us some money? How do we persuade them to come on board and to do something with us, to enter into a transaction with us? Um, the way that we persuade the mechanics of persuasion in the US are very different from the mechanics of persuasion in the European market. We look at things differently. What is going to be important, how we build up our arguments, how we build up that credibility is going to be very different just because we have different values, we have a different approach to business. And if you're going into the European market, I mean, the American market, and you're trying to persuade your American clients the same ways that you're trying to persuade your European clients, I can almost guarantee you're going to lose their attention. So we really want to look at how are we including specific details, specific results, the specific niche that we're addressing, the specific problem we're addressing. How do we get all of that into either a small talk conversation in a very strategic way? And that is something that is um, very easy to do with a little work and a little bit of practice, but that's something that we work on, the conversational pitch. How do we structure your scheduled pitch when you're going into a sales presentation or a sales meeting? Again, what are the arguments we're going to put there to persuade someone? It's going to be very different from what we often see here in Europe. The third thing is your presence. So this is all about showing up as an outspoken leader who has a vision for having an impact on the world, who has a mission that they are working to accomplish with their business. And it's also about telling your story. I mean, you know that storytelling is a big thing in the US market, and it's not just marketing BS. It's like this is the way that we create connections with people. And in the US, yes, Americans, we like to think of them as very logical, very pragmatic, but we still make buying decisions based on emotions, based on stories. And that is part of building up your presence, is putting yourself out there, not just talking about your product, your specifications, your technical aspects, or all of that, because there's no emotion there. And being present means showing up as a human being, talking about your story, talking about your vision for what you're doing, talking about the mission that you're on, and how you came to do what you do, but doing that in a strategic way so that your target market sees you, they come to know you, they come to like you, and they come to trust you. And that leads up to the fourth thing that we need to get in place, which is your credibility. You're coming into a market as an outsider. I mean, I've been on this journey myself, coming into the French market and the European markets as an American, which means if you're doing the opposite, you're going into the American market as a European entrepreneur, you have a little extra work to do to build up your credibility and your authority in that market. Americans are going to be wondering, can I trust you if you're based in another country? And that's if you don't have a physical presence in the US. Can I trust you because you're from another country? We have different cultures, we have different languages. Do you understand my specific problems? Do you understand how we do business here in the US? Can I trust you to get the results that you say that you're going to get? All of this is about building up that trust, building the credibility in the eyes of your American clients, and being able to show proof that you do what you say you do. Um, of course, there's the classic way of doing that: case studies, testimonials, things like that. Of course, you want to have those, but you want to be able also to repackage those in different ways, again, so you can tell the stories of your clients and allow your American audience to project themselves into that narrative of the client who gets success with you. um, you can get on media features. Now, this might be media like podcasts, it could be YouTube channels, it can be traditional media features, all of that. I have a podcast where one of my missions is to feature European entrepreneurs who are doing good things in the American market to help them get a little more media exposure there. Um, so that can be a first step. And also, if you have any partnerships or existing clients in the American market, you want to be highlighting those as well, because that is going to allow you to benefit from their credibility, their authority, their notoriety, and also to show people, these people trust me, you can trust me. So, if you have any partnerships, any connections in the US market already, definitely highlight those. If you're looking to get your first American clients, we can look at how you're working with your European clients and turn those case studies and those examples in a way that is going to speak directly to your American clients. Now, the fifth thing that we look at to get in place in your business, this is your connections and your networking. In the US market, we say, um, I forgot this expression, your network is your net worth. And it's not what you know, it's who you know. And this is, I mean, you've got to be good at what you're doing, but if you're watching this video, it means that you're investing a little bit of time in improving your skills and your knowledge and your strategy to go into the American market. So I'm assuming you're already good at what you do. But you can't go into it alone, because a lot of business through the US is done through relationships, introductions, networking. Now, this can be networking people that you happen to meet through events, but a way to amplify that and go faster is through introductions, referrals, and getting someone to introduce you to the right person. Now, how do we do this? I would say the first thing is just knowing how to play the networking game in the US. Um, an example that has happened to me a lot, regularly enough for me to call this out: people will contact me on LinkedIn, and they see that I help companies, European companies, go and be successful in the American market. They see that I've got a lot of connections, quite a big network, and they say, "Hey, Christina, I'm looking to go into New York into we have a SaaS that's going to help insurance executives. Can you put me in contact with any insurance C levels? Do you have those contacts?" And maybe I do have those contacts. But if you're coming at me, I don't know you. You have sent me an invitation request with no message. I've accepted it. And you come right away into my message and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this. Can you put me in contact? Can you open your network to me?" I'm going to say, "Let me go and look at your LinkedIn profile. Let me go and look at your website. Let me try to understand what you're doing here." Um, and very often, what I see is their presence is not something that's going to inspire confidence. I'm not going to put them in contact because I don't trust them. I don't know them. I don't trust them. And they're showing me already that they don't know how to play the game by the right codes. And so I'm not going to put them in contact. So when you're going in and you're doing your networking, there are some specific codes and some specific rules that you have to play by. Um, and if you're going out and showing people that you don't know how to play by those rules and those codes, then you're not only not getting the contact, you're kind of putting like a strike against your profile, because we say, I don't like this guy, or this woman, so I'm not going to pursue that connection in this discussion any further, and you have lost an opportunity there. So you want to make sure that you are building up these connections, because connections and network can be super powerful when you go about it the right way. And again, this is a long game. It's not something where you send out a message and you get a response right away, at least not in the beginning. After you've built up your network, you've built up your connections, and you've built up that trust, yes, then you can do that. And then it works. And that's when it starts to feel a little magical. So, the bottom line here is that getting American clients is not about working harder. Is it hard work? Yes, it is. But is it about struggling and working hard and staying up until 1 a.m. in the morning? No, if you're going about it the right way and you're being strategic about it. And that means getting your clear niche, your positioning absolutely clear. It means working on your persuasion skills so that when you're going in for pitches or conversations, you do it in a way that shows people, shows your American buyers that it's worth pursuing that conversation with you. You have a strong visible presence so that people see you, they know, like, and trust you. Again, that is a long game that you need to start playing at least a year before you're going into the US market. Building up your credibility and your authority so people see you, they trust you, they want to work with you. And then being able to play the networking game and build up those connections in, I would say, by playing the game with the right rules and the codes for the American market. So if you're ready to put these pillars, let's call them, these 5 pillars into place into your American market strategy, send me a message in the DMs and we can talk about how to do that. I'm happy to evaluate your strategy, to look at what you're doing already, to look at the weaknesses, identify the strengths, identify the opportunities that we have here, and what that might look like to position you strategically for becoming more visible, more valuable, and more credible in the eyes of your American clients. So that's it for today. I will see you next week with another live video. But if you are interested in having me look at your American market strategy, send me a message and I can set you up with my US client acquisition bundle. It's going to give you an overview of what you need to do, an evaluation, and like I said, that one-on-one strategy session where we dig into what you're doing for the American market. All right. Have a good one and see you next week.